What day is this? Is this Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. Are we through May yet? Gonna do some cleaning. Thought I'd kind of take you along. How are you though today? Got a massive headache. A massive headache. There's so much that I want to say and so much that I want to talk about, but I figured right now I'm gonna unload my dishwasher and I'm gonna take you along on this incredible journey that we call life. What was Prince's song? I'm Kitryn Marie. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm a life and a business coach, teach a variety of art and communication classes. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I also lend my hand in the food and beverage industry, which by now y'all know I want out of. Before I start cleaning, I looked at my tips for last week, and those that have been following my rants in the last couple weeks, my tips for last week, because now I have to share my earnings, was for $290. Please explain to me in any language, when you're doing the math, because it ain't mathin', how an establishment can think that that is okay. And I will not let go of this. I will not let go of it at all. Can you live on $290 a week? And does your employer think that that's okay? Now, mind you, I get it. I work 3 days a week. Totally get it. But in a previous video, I said my whole life I've only worked 3 or 4 shifts and have made anywhere from $600 to $900. So if you do the math, and $290, it's really not a lot, is it? So over the last 5 days, I've had a massive headache trying to figure out, okay, now what comes next? Because I've made the firm decision that I am embarrassed at where I am lending my hand, the position that I am still doing at this point in life, knowing I had a thriving art and communication business teaching prior to COVID, through COVID, and then the year after COVID when everything took a dive. It wasn't a lot of money. I wasn't hand over fist, making millions, but it was an extra $400, extra $600, extra $1,200 a month, on top of the fact that, I had my hand in food and beverage. But what does it say about your age when you were doing your job and now you are embarrassed by what you do? Knowing you are intelligent and you have all the skill set behind you. What does it say? Because I try to rack my brain around it all the time. We're going to unload the dishwasher. Don't mind the dishwasher. It's about falling apart. I don't know. What else do you do when you have done something your entire life, different aspects and different avenues of the life the jobs that you have done? If you watched my day in and day out video the other day, I had like 117 views. I went ahead and I put it back on private so you won't be able to see it for a while. I'll put it back up in a week or two. But what do you do when you realize the establishment that you were involved with is no longer serving any type of purpose at all? What do you do when you know all of your skill set and you're not able to utilize everything that you've learned? What do you do? Now, when I am business coaching, which it has been a while since I've had a class, business coaching, follow along. I talk about 2 women. What is their gift? What is their talent? How are they going to monetize the hobby? I'm going to have to take some ibuprofen. My head is just exploding. We talk about economics. We talk about logistics. We talk about how you even got into the job you're in, and if you could have one wish with the skill set that you have, what would you like to do and how would you like to do it? Now, because I lend my hand in the food and beverage industry, open that a little more so I don't smack myself in the head. And I do practice what I preach. You know, I use all of the social media platforms, I advertise, I tell people what I do. It comes down to your skill set being marketable and who's going to pay for your service. So, as I'm looking at these different women in classes that I've previously had, one which I could so appreciate, she taught yoga, but she wanted to sell her wine. She belonged to one of those wine clubs. And she had asked me to help her come up with a format on how she could teach her class in her home and sell the wine to go with it. So she would do a couple poses, 15, 20 minutes, everybody take a break, everybody sample some wine, and then she'd get back to the class, so on and so forth. And then by the end of the night, anybody who had liked any of the samples of the wine, they would buy it. To me, it made perfect sense. Perfect sense. So I helped her outline that. Another gal, she was from a foreign country. My dishwasher cleans things, but sometimes it just looks like it doesn't. Anyway, she's from a foreign country, and the ingredients from her homeland, she wanted to create a soap for your skin and body lotions. And I was explaining to her the ingredients that you need to list on the packaging when you are trying to sell any kind of food, anything that goes on your skin, anything that gets absorbed into your system. Because if the Food and Drug Administration gets a hold of something that you have and it is not logistically and put correctly on the packaging, you can get in big trouble. So I helped her formulate that. Trying to think what else. Another gal, she did photography, travel photography, and she would go on vacation, and she would meet up with these people on her vacation, wherever she stayed at, and she would do all of their journal vlogging through her photography. Then she would come home with all of those pictures, get them printed out, and then she would not only charge for her photography service, but then she would charge for the photo album that showed each person's, day in and day out travels. And depending on where she was or how many hours a day, she charged for all that too. So there were 3 viable clients that I had that I helped them, showed them how to make money off of a gift and a talent. And here I am trying to teach an art class, but because of the way life is in itself, taking an art class is the last thing right now anybody wants to do, especially when they're trying to buy groceries. We're so inundated with emails and phones going off. Today, one of the customers at the bar, he says, we were talking about having a phone line, and I said, I want to go back to 1977. I want to go back to where I have a phone line, a regular phone. It's on the wall, it rings, you pick it up, you talk, you stretch the cord through the house. I was talking with another gentleman who's a little older than me, the gentleman next to him who was on his work phone, and he's listening to our conversation. And he gets off the phone, he's younger, and he says, I just don't want this phone anymore. He said, it constantly goes off. He said, I don't like being so accessible to all of my customers and clients. And he said, it's one thing when my kids are trying to get a hold of me. He said, but why do we have to be on 24/7? Well, first of all, it's a boundary thing. And you have to understand whatever your job is, really how important are you? And is that person who's on the other end, do they really need to get a hold of you, or is that a control thing? They just want to know you're available. And I'm telling him this. And he said, I never even thought about that. I said, if you know you work, say 9 to 4, your phone shouldn't be on until 9 o'clock. And if you are done off the clock by 4 o'clock, that phone better not ring anything that has to do with work unless you have given permission for them, whomever them may be, to get a hold of you. You have to set a boundary. You have to have a private life. You have to be able to differentiate when you're available to work and when you're available to do absolutely nothing. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? So here as I am trying to promote, my life coaching class, putting the vision board together, talk about business coaching for women who are just bored and they just want more in their life and they're not making any money. Here I am with what I'll call a real job, and I'm not making any money at it because somebody else has deemed how I should make a living. So as I'm looking at all my bills, trying to figure out what in the frick am I gonna do, and I get angry. How many times in one person's life should you be made to be put in a position that you did not ask for, you did not call for, and it is out of your control? The last restaurant that I worked, I was there 3-4 years, I don't know, it's all a blur now. The owner of the building sold underneath the restaurant. It was out of their control. There were no negotiations. The owner did not want the restaurant people to buy the building because there was a huge, I want to say an $8 million price tag behind it, which I can't even fathom $8 million. I can't even fathom $8 right now. But the owner of the building wanted, and maybe it was 1.8, that sounds more about right. But it was more money than the restaurant people were willing to with or far. So, what did the owner of the building do? He sold and told the restaurant people they needed to get out within 2 weeks. So therefore, all of us that were working there were left without a job, left without an income. And anybody that knows the restaurant industry, you live day to day, week to week. It's a big gamble, it's a big risk, and when you do it over your whole life, you kind of get used to that. And when things are good, you save your money, and when things are bad, you scramble and you try to figure things out. So here I am. Is that clean? Let's take a big one. Here I am with 65 looking at me in a couple weeks. And I'm like, I should not have to be going through this again because somebody has made a really stupid decision that benefits them. So what about you? Let's talk about you for a minute. Let's talk about how are you surviving and who is choosing your livelihood for you, and who is making all of those decisions that no longer are making any sense for you on how you make your money. How? You look at your bills, you look at, your mortgage, your rent, your groceries, your car payment, your rent payment. How are you affording all those things if somebody is deeming what your salary should be? And if you are in a customer-based industry, and there are no clients or customers, whose fault is it? Who's communicating? Who's marketing? Who's advertising? Who's cold calling? Who's cold canvassing? Who? And then yet they want to look at you why you are not performing in your job, knowing they're deeming your salary. So are you like overextending yourself for nothing? Or are you deciding, this is it, bare minimum, buddy, and then you start looking for something else? And then, here's the other thing too, I almost feel like, and this is a true thing, ageism. Let's talk about ageism, depending on what it is that you do. One, how's your body keeping up with what you have to do? With what you have to work with? How's your body holding up? Second, if you are the oldest in the establishment and you're dealing with a bunch of Gen Zs, young millennials, and they look at you like you're older than Methuselah, what do? When you know you are mentally skilled, you've been doing your job for so long, and you got these young yahoos who don't know how to clean themselves up, to present themselves to whomever is walking into your industry. Who, what, why, how, and what the hell is going on? So therefore they look at you like, well, you're just old and you probably shouldn't be here to begin with. And like my kids used to make jokes and just say, Mom, just go sit down and go knit something and you'll be happy. Well, that doesn't pay the bills, does it? Doesn't pay the bills. So as I am looking at my tips from last week, $200, because that's ludicrous to think an establishment would look at that and say, oh, that's fine, you're good, you can manage. No, I can't, and I'm angry about it, and I'm not letting it go. Not only that, it gives me something to talk about in content, really. So today was a no-brainer. No customers, no money. My counterpart and I were like looking at each other like, why don't the rest of them see that this is not right? This is not how businesses run. But yet there they are. They're all like, ah! What about you? And I have my comments all turned off. Sorry. Because people don't know how to behave when you go live. Crude and rude comments are made. But I mean, ask yourself, in your own reflection, with the money that you're making for somebody else and the people that you are surrounding yourself with that are looking at you like you are old and you can't do your job, well, what do you do when you want to leave where you are? What's the alternative other than death? I want to know. I really do. I want to know. So over the weekend, I sent out 2 resumes. I just sent 2 more resumes out. I don't know, do I go back into banquet coordinating for, a wedding venue? Not really, I really don't want to. That's a 24/7 job. And the running joke was I'm just trying to get to January so I can collect my Social Security. And I'm holding off on Medicare as long as I possibly can within the constraints of what the law says. Because, you know how I feel about all that medical insurance stuff. Everybody has some kind of quandary going on in their life right now. And everybody is addressing it differently. And I can say from my customer base that is coming into the restaurant, they're not pleasant, they're angry. Everybody's watching money. Nobody really wants to spend anything. And I don't have to say nobody's tipping anything because needless to say, the $290 I made in tips last week is absolutely disgustingly pathetic. Here's an example of tonight. I had a 6-top that came in 3 o'clock. They drank, had appetizers, had full entrees, full meals, and their bill was like, $200 and something. Let's just say, round that off a little bit. I go to take them their check. And they all look at me like I've got 4 heads. And I say, what's the problem? What's going on? And they're like, well, we need separate checks, which pisses me off more than anything. You go to a restaurant in a group, figure it out before you even sit down. Everybody pool your money. That says less about the clientele when you have to split their meals. If you go to a high dollar place, they don't allow it, and you have a better class of customers. So anyway, I go, guys, you're killing me. I go, I'll do it. I go, but the next time when you go someplace, you should probably let your server, your bartender know ahead of time. You know what? Their bills, 6 of them, what I say, a little over $200. I'm lucky if they left $3. $3 that I have to share with my counterpart, so therefore, I made $1.50 off of each of them. How is that acceptable? And the establishment is like, well, you know, tipping is an option. No, tipping should be mandatory, and people should know better. They really should. So, this morning, as I was ranting and raving over on TikTok about how I am embarrassed by the job that I do, I think I'm going to start doing a lot of my coaching and my classes online, which I never like to do. I always like to do things in person. We need to do more activities in person and get away from that online thing. But because everybody is afraid to go out or afraid to really let go of money, I mean, I have no rhyme or reason anymore for any of it. But I think I'm going to start doing my business coaching online. I do have a Cash App. I also have a PayPal. If you want to learn how to put a vision board together, we can do that via online, do like a Zoom. But I don't know. You know, send out 1 million resumes knowing that, you know, the unemployment rate is probably at about 6%. And I did say to my manager yesterday, how do you think this is acceptable? And I said, just so you know, I am actively looking for something else. And when the opportunity comes about, I will be leaving. And she looked at me like, why? Why would you leave? At that point in time, I about all came unglued. Why do you think I want to leave? So that's where I'm at in my world. That is where I'm at. But what about you? Tell me about you. You know, you get up, you go to work, you dread going into wherever it is you're going. I don't know very many people who are in a really good mood. And I can probably say, out of all the changes that have occurred in my life over the last 25 years, this is the most miserable I think I have ever been professionally. Can you say that? Can we say it all together? Normally I get along with everybody. I have no issues with anybody. I go in, I do my job really well. Normally I get paid really well for it. Well, not this time around. And once again, it comes down to, it's totally out of my control. So as I'm sitting here looking at all the bills that are due, and thank God there is an extra check this month, I can't wait to leave where I am at, because I don't know the mentality of how higher ups are thinking that this is okay. And then also, if you talk to other people in the other side of the building, there's about 12 of them that are just right there with me, and I'm thinking, if I walk, who else is gonna walk? And trust me, I have gone without. So not having a job for a couple weeks, I'll figure it out, like I always do. That's what my kids say. Mom, everything is figure-outable, and you always find a way to figure it out. I'm pissed. I'm angry. And you would be too, if somebody wanted to mess with your income. Wanted to tell you, you know, you've got all this skill and all this experience, and you're not able to be paid what you know you're worth. What are you girls doing? I got all the dogs under my feet. So I thought, well, I want to go sit outside. I went to Menards yesterday. I'm going to flip subjects a minute. I went to Menards yesterday. Now that I know the back roads to get to the Menard, I bought 6 more tomato plants. I bought 6 more pepper plants. I bought 2, I don't know, some blooming flowers. I'm waiting on elephant ears. But I'm going to sell my sauce. Once I get my crops of tomatoes, I'm going to go get some good mason jars, and I'm just going to sell my sauce. Haven't quite figured out how I'm going to market all that, but I'll figure that out, because it goes back to everything is figure-outable if you can have a calm mind. But it's a little hard to have a calm mind when you're waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning wondering what the frick you're going to do, right? Right? I don't know. I just don't know. But this is where I'm at right now on, what is today, the 27th of May. We got a full moon coming, a full moon in Cancer. Good luck with that one. Get through May, get into June. I don't know. Each day is just like one more new challenge. Trying to make heads or tails out of what is going on in this life. But I am Kitryn Marie. I am an artist, a writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Teach a variety of art and communication classes. I teach group painting classes. Minimum of $12, $48 each. I provide all the materials. I teach how to put a vision board together based in life coaching, talking about character, behavior, your productive environment, who influenced you, how you grew up, how you are as a human now, and so on and so forth. A lot of psychology, a lot of life coaching. That class is $65. You may do it online if you choose to. We can do it through a Zoom. And then I teach creative-minded women who want to start side hustles, leaning out of their 9 to 5. We can do it in person. We can do it online. It is $95. My book, When He Had Her, it is available on Amazon. It is a light psych thriller. It is $15.99. Working on my second book, Seaside Shore, which leads me into, before I get off of here, I have been, for a pastime, been getting catalogs for travel. My Ohio one came today. Still want to get up to Ohio, Sandusky, if I must. Still trying to get over to Pennsylvania. I don't know if that one came in the mail or not. But, try to do something fun. Try to get your head out of your own mind. It's so hard to get out of your way when you just see life is keeping you stuck by somebody else's stupid decisions. Stupid. And I don't know how much more I can be really nice about it. All right. Here, I'm going to open this up real quick and then I'll leave you be. Which one is this? I saw the mail lady and she goes, I was in Alaska. And I'm thinking, don't tell me that. I haven't gone anywhere. This is Ohio, Medina County. I'll go through that in just a little bit. You give me some ideas. What else did I get? Oh, this is from Ohio too. I think the whole thing in my head was I was going to drive to Indianapolis, go to Ohio, and then kind of veer on over to Pennsylvania. Now, don't ask me how I think I'm going to get there, because I don't know. Because my car, the newer one that I got, is about due for brakes. Thing at a time with that car. They laugh at me at work about that. They're like, why did you even buy that car? Because it was available. That's why I bought the car. And I was trying to be a big girl and do it all on my own. Yep. Another Ohio. So this is my pastime right now. Trying to figure out how I'm going to leave the job I'm at, how I'm going to now do work online through online classes, promote, market, do more content, because as of this morning, I was up to 712 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody can relate to what I'm saying and what I'm doing. Somebody else is feeling the same kind of emotion and pain. Maybe they're just not as animated as I am. It's not easy. It's never easy. And the older you get, you just got to figure out a new strategy for it. But again, I'm Kitryn Marie, an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach, reside in St. Louis, Missouri, teach a variety of art and communication classes, published book When He Had Her, available on Amazon. Be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. I'm going to finish cleaning my kitchen. I'm going to go sit outside. I'm going to go stare at my garden, and I'm going to try to figure out where I'm going to put these other 12 plants, because my garden, Mary, quite contrary, has gotten pretty big. But y'all take care. Have a great evening. And on the replay, as you see this, leave a comment. I'd greatly appreciate it. But y'all take care. Good night. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. See you soon.